And guten Morgen to everyone. Thank you for taking time. I know it's a Monday morning, so I'll try to make it more dynamic. And I hope you have a coffee and water next to you. I will run through with you into this beautiful destination, Singapore. So maybe just a quick one. Who has been to Singapore? Raise your hand. Nice. So we've got Norman, Sabrina. Okay, so cool. I guess most of you have been to Singapore, and those who haven't, that's fine as well. Singapore has been a really well-known destination, and I think we are going to go beyond the destination, what we can do. And I hope you see a different perspective of Singapore through this presentation. So we're gonna start. This is the content and the program. I will start to introduce myself, the agency, and then why Singapore for MICE clients. I'm not sure if there are leisure clients here as well, but we also support with business travelers, leisure. And Singapore and MICE, why is it like a perfect destination for MICE? The programs, different types of variety of programs that you can do in Singapore, including the Q&A like Carol mentioned. So I'll just go straight to it. My name is Atika, the Managing Director and the founder of Beyond Events Asia. So I'm actually excited to present this destination because it's also where I was born and where I grew up in. So Beyond Events, I started it like 2.5 years ago. I do have an experience with MICE for about 12 years. So it is a boutique Asian agency, and we take part in our dynamic and well-traveled team. So our team is dedicated, experienced, specialized in creating unique conference and events incentives. We do also virtual events and digital events, but after COVID, it's a lot of in-person again. So this is what makes us excited all the time. Oh yeah, let me just go next. Our philosophy is simple. Events should not only inspire and motivate, but also foster long-term relationships. You can see the key metrics on the right because we cover Asia, 10 plus destinations, experience, and all the projects done. So the past 12 years, what's interesting is that my clients in the MICE industry are usually mainly from Europe coming into Asia, which is our destinations that we cover. And that's why we have an understanding of what the mindset of a European client like, and we execute it in Asia. So that's one of the unique selling point about our agency. Other than Europe, we obviously do clients from US or Mexico coming to Asia. So we do technical expertise on top of your support for incentive, meetings and conference. In a nutshell, like I mentioned, we have track records with European clients for the past 12 years. And what we offer is our local expertise with international standards. Okay, let's dive into what truly defines us, which is our values. At the heart of our operations, we provide fresh perspective. Like I mentioned earlier, we aim to inspire your curiosity about our beautiful Asian destinations. So with corporate clients and MICE, it's not an unknown that most of our delegates are well traveled into these destinations. Therefore, we always evolve, and we actually look forward to make your clients and you to see things from a new angle, experience it through the eyes of a local, and not just that, spark conversations and understanding about our shared global heritage. For example, in Japan, if in Germany football is your national sport, does anyone know what's the national sport in Japan? Even though this is not a destination about Japan. Anyone wants to give a try?
Baseball, no?
Sorry?
Baseball?
Close. It's very
I say
close.
sumo.
It's actually, yes, correct. So
Woohoo!
yeah, sumo is the national, national sport of Japan. So there's one group from, I think, an automobile industry from Germany. Obviously, outside the factory visits, outside of Tokyo, we have to create a unique incentive trip, and these are like the big bosses who have been to Japan many times for work. So this time, what we did was because in Japan they host grand sumo tournaments 3 times a year, January, May, September. So it was one of those period where the time fits in to have them experience to go into the national stadium and watch the sumo wrestling tournament. One sec. So what we did was we brought them for lunch into this sumo restaurant where it's like surrounding the sumo ring. So what can happen is we can watch the sumo, how they practice or what are the moves, which can be interactive, followed by a sumo lunch. So sumo lunch, is very specific. This cuisine, I know this is not Singapore, but bear with me. It's more to explain the fresh perspective. It's a protein-rich hot pot, which is very nutritious but low in fat, good for sumo wrestlers. And then we go out for a walk to the back streets of Tokyo, passing temples, school kids in uniform, just see the locals going on to their daily life. And we end in a house, a private home of a former sumo champion from Hawaii, who won 11 grand tournaments. So a bit of personality here. So this fresh perspective is something that we always look forward to in any destinations. So that's one of our values, which I think I wanted to really go into details. Thank you for listening. And then obviously trusted experts. Basically Asia is my home. I'm very passionate. I've been traveling around a lot. I live in Thailand. I lived in Bali now for 4 years. Singapore all my life. Korea, back and forth all the time. Sustainability as well is also one of our core. We usually integrate, the local economy and environment into our programs everywhere we go, because we want to make sure it's also our responsibility as an event organizer, because we do it over a long period of time. So last 3 would be innovation that we are proud of, that drives us, not just in terms of technical capabilities, but also evolution of creating programs, keeping up to date with not just the product, but also the local and regional trend. Next, genuine experience. I think that is self-explanatory. By connecting local culture and history, we make sure that every event leaves a lasting impression on both destinations and the delegates. And finally, teamwork. In Asia, relationships are very crucial. I think it's the same with Germany as well. I see the working relationships among agencies, they're usually super long-term. It's always the same person. So that's something I think we are very aligned with. So not just partners, but also clients. So that's us. And in Singapore, this is our team. Most of them have 10 years of experience. And if we got an even beyond team for other destinations in Asia, we have office in Korea, Bali, and Singapore. But just want to highlight that these are our country managers who execute operations in that country. But I just want to let you know that we have worked with them for 10 years at least to ensure seamless local execution. But from your perspective as a client, you will always have a single point of contact, which is one of us here. This includes personally overseen, not just by sales, emails, calls, or weekly calls if needed. It also includes site inspections and on-site execution. This means that we are with you from initial planning stage all the way through the event completion. This hands-on involvement is something that we take great pride in, because we don't just design the program, we stay closely involved to make sure it's brought to life exactly as we both envision. So yeah, this level of continuity and commitment is something we will not compromise on. Okay, now for the main topic, which is Singapore. I'm just going to go through quickly, just a brief history of Singapore. The British founded us. It's a very small country, but then we declared independence in 1965. We were thriving on, because we were the biggest port that connects Europe into Asia. And in that period, it was, it was very important for the trading colony that the British set up. The people, so we are only like 6 million, almost 6 million people, with 4 different types of ethnicity, which the majority is the Chinese, then the Malays. I'm considered a Malay, Singaporean, and then there's Indians and there's other races as well. So we are a multicultural country, city, and with that, we have 4 official language, which is English, Malay, Mandarin, and Tamil. Fun fact, we used to be part of Malaysia 60 years ago. So we are going to celebrate our 60th birthday in August, which is very soon. And at that point, our national language was Malay. But the first thing that our late Prime Minister did for our independence, the first thing he did was change our language into English to get more companies, multinational companies, to come and set base in Singapore as their Asian headquarters, because there was no other Asian cities that has English as their first language. So he wanted us, Singapore, to be, as friendly as possible for MNCs to come in and set headquarters here. As mentioned, the climate is humid, 28 degrees, and we have some. It's just, instead of the 4 seasons that you have, we have the rainy season and we have the dry season. So yeah, the monsoon starts from December to March, which is okay, and June to September. And in the corporate setting, I think it's perfect that the dry season falls on the period that our corporate clients usually come to our destination. So we are quite lucky about that in terms of weather. Time zone is just, for now in the summer, it's 6 hours ahead of Germany. But outside of the summer, I think it's 7. Oh, during the winter, it's 7, I think. Yeah. Fun fact, we also changed our time zone 6 times. But yeah, we are not going to change, I hope. Okay, now for the fun fact about Singapore. Singapore is a city-state. It means the capital is Singapore, the country is Singapore, and the city itself is a country or state. So Singapore is one of the only 3 surviving city-states in the world. And now I bring the question to everyone. What are the other 2 city-states in the world that you know of? Monaco is one. Vatican City is the other. So Singapore is the 3rd one, which is a city-state. I don't know if you know, but chewing gum is banned in Singapore. We are obsessed with cleanliness. and it was banned, I think, 1992. Do you know why it was banned? Any ideas?
Because of the waste, maybe?
The waste?
Yeah, because a lot of people, they just, throw it out. Same with cigarettes, they just throw it on the ground. And I believe the streets in Singapore are quite clean, and you have very few litters, like bins and everything to put the garbage in. So just a thought.
Yeah, actually, that's not wrong at all. It's part of the truth. The other part, which is very important for Singapore, which is who we are, is because it's expensive to clean. It's like 125,000 US dollar annually to just scrape off the gum from like the sidewalks, the train doors, the bus seats. But the funny thing it was the one that really bothered Singapore was the train. Like when you put gum in at the door, and there's one time like I don't know how much gum there was, but the door couldn't close, and it just caused so much delays and issues with the train system, transportation system. So that was also the reason why we just decided to be efficient. Let's just ban. The same with littering for like if you litter, like if you smoke a cigarette and you do that on the road, there'll be someone in like a civilian t-shirt. They just pop up from nowhere, and then they're like, oh, you are fined $300. So yeah, and the fine for chewing gum in Singapore is similar to littering, which is from $300 to $1,000. And the other thing is e-cigarettes are also banned in Singapore. I mean, it's not a fun presentation to promote Singapore, this slide, but I think it's quite interesting to know that there's two different ways to call Singapore a fine city, which is this. Next fun fact. The world's tallest indoor waterfall is in Singapore. It is in our Changi Airport, a world-class award-winning airport. And I think this was built like not long ago. It's 40 meters tall. So what we usually do is, depending on your flights coming in and out, usually from Germany or Austria or Europe, we usually put it at the last day of the program because the flights are usually a red-eye flight, midnight or 1 a.m. So when we have to check out, 2 p.m. maximum. So there will be 3 hours where we can do early check-in and let the delegates roam around this mall in the airport with this amazing structure. So yeah, it's not just a stunning architecture, it's also functional, which is it channels all the rainwater from the roof, recirculate it, and then it contributes to the cooling of the indoor environment. So yeah, and there's a 5-story shopping and dining complex in our airport. There's also a movie theater, a swimming pool. So there's so many things to do in this airport. All right, next.
Can
you
you
also
actually
have the second.
Can you actually enter the airport without, is it in before the check-in area, or is it, because I think it's Terminal 3, right, or 2? I didn't know which terminal it was, but can you enter without being actually a passenger?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Definitely, because it's before the check-in, and only in this terminal where the Vortex is, they have dedicated early check-in counters, because they know people are going to bring their luggage. They will come very early, more than 3 hours before their flight, so they can't really check in. So only at this terminal, there are early check-in counters for them to leave their luggage, enjoy. They will already have their boarding pass by then, and then they just go in. And usually the immigration doesn't take very long, like 1 minute. So it's not it's very, very seamless, efficient as well. And you just go to your gate, which takes 15 minutes maybe. But one thing to note, duty-free shopping is not within this area because it's before check-in. So you might want to have some time inside as well for duty-free. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, second tallest indoor waterfall as well. I think you've seen like this photo on the right, which is a bit like Avatar looking. It's the super trees. The whole place is called Gardens by the Bay. And the dome is where this waterfall is. So it could be part of, I will go through the whole program and yeah, possibilities for this. Okay, so why Singapore? Number one, accessibility. So we have 180 weekly direct flights from Europe to Singapore. From Frankfurt, SQ is Singapore Airlines, LH is Lufthansa. We have 14 weekly flights, 7 weekly flights. So these are all the, it's actually quite a lot. For Vienna, Scoot is actually the low-cost airline for Singapore Airlines. And these are direct flights. So it is possible, direct Vienna, Singapore. And for Zurich, you have Singapore Airlines as well as Swiss Air. So it's a lot. And with groups, it's super easy with the different types of, in Singapore Airlines especially, we don't just have economy, we don't just have business, we also have in between, which is called the premium economy, which is, a bit bigger. And then you have a footrest and a different menu from economy as well. So actually that's really interesting if you want to elevate because it's a really long flight, like 12 hours. If the client has a bit of more budget, premium economy could be an option for you to explore. So why Singapore? It's a city of green possibilities. It's actually a city in nature. Fun fact, 47% of Singapore is covered in trees. So it's not that's the reason why it's also humid, but at the same time, it's super nice visually. Like everywhere you go is green, including the roads and the buildings. Because we are committed to sustainable practice as a city and a country. And we put in place nationwide standards, certification programs to build a greener future for the MICE industry. That's what the Singapore Tourism Board says. So, but we do have in 2021, the Singapore Green Plan 2030 that has concrete targets that is aligned with the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda and the Paris Agreement. So yeah, it's a bit, but it's interesting. So it is to achieve the long-term goal of net zero emission by 2050. So yeah, if your clients are super into environmental or sustainability, and Singapore could actually be very aligned as a destination to support the legacy and impact goals. Okay, so what else? We can implement like sustainability, of course, into the programs, which I will share in the few slides later. And last but not least, oh no, it's the second last, the efficiency. So efficiency and experience. As you know, Singapore has multicultural diversity. So you've got your Chinatown, your Little India, your Arab Street, but you also have like your Marina Bay Sands, which you see in the picture, and like high skyscraper. And then you have like the colonial buildings as well from the British colonialization time. So these are experience, but if you travel from the airport to this area, it takes only 15 minutes. We don't have much traffic in our roads because we have this thing called COE, which is Certificate of Entitlement. So if you want to buy a car, you have to pay $100,000 to buy this certificate from the government, which only lasts for 10 years. So after paying 100,000, you get this certificate, then you can buy a car. So is a different separate cost. The reason why they do that is because we're a small country, so it's very efficient to use money that way. But the reason is because they want people to use the public transportation. That's why there's no traffic at all in Singapore. It's really quick here and there. If you go from here to the zoo, which is way up north, only 20 minutes. You can also go to Malaysia across the border in 30 minutes. So it's super efficient. It's not just clean, modern, or culturally diverse. It's also a smart nation, which I will speak more later. Political stability, we are friends with everyone. We're friends with China, Europe, US, Russia. So because we have no choice, we are a small city and we have to make good alliances. We're all English speaking, like I said from the start. So it's super easy to get around. As you know, we attract a lot of multinational corporations when we got independence, because we do not have natural resources to rely on. We don't have oil, we don't have water, so we do it in a financial, economic way. So we have 7,000 MNCs, offices in Singapore itself. So I think Singapore will always pop up with your clients as always one of the destinations to consider, to do, not just for a mix of business and incentive, but it could also be like a pure conference. So yeah, we are very, for MICE planners, it means like a peace of mind. We have all the infrastructure and this to support like events, small to world-class standards. So one good thing about the smart nation that we adopt is that we have one of the most efficient digital ecosystems in the world. So from your arrival to departure, everything will be smooth from you don't need e-visas from Germany to Singapore. Immigration is super fast. There's contactless payments everywhere. So you don't actually need to go to a money changer usually, unless you want to go on the streets for street food. We have tech-driven venues and hotels already built with smart capabilities, automated system, and sustainable features. So it's very easy to find. If you have hybrid requests, we do have for live streaming or I don't know, broadcasting and a high level of production. This is something we can support. We support innovation as well as a global business hub, especially in tech, manufacturing, and mobility. So yeah, it's definitely a destination that I think you would like, because for industry like automotive and engineering, it's really interesting to have. So yeah, in short, for MICE planners, it's a destination that you can rely on. For time is money, so everything is efficient in that sense. But we also deliver forward-thinking experience. Last but not least is the food, because we have many different races in Singapore. Me growing up, Chinese, Malay, Indian food is part of our cuisine. It's normal for us. Like we eat Chinese food, Indian food for breakfast, Malay food for lunch, and then after partying, we go to Indian place to eat. So this is part of our day-to-day. It brings a lot of flavors, cultural richness. You've got from street food all the way to Michelin quality standards. Even some of our street foods are Michelin starred. Like Gordon Ramsay comes. There was one time he came because he wants to compete with the local chef in Singapore. So he went to different hawker centers. These are some of the examples of our local food that you see. So he challenged, chili crab is our iconic dish, challenged like a 40-year-old chef, you know, in the hawker center who has made chili crab all his life. So he challenged him, he tasted and tried to recreate. And then they took his chili crab and Gordon Ramsay's chili crab for people to vote. And then they see who wins. So it's really like a food culinary paradise, even for like chefs like him. I won't go too much into details, but yeah, we have a diverse culture. It's super easy to integrate this into our program, to be honest. Like this street, in the day, this is where like the financial area is in Singapore. In the day, it's a road, like the cars can go in. But at night, they close this road and they put tables and chairs and they serve satay. So it's like a barbecue skewer meat. And what we have done is, you know, like Singapore doesn't have to be like super expensive. We can also mix and match, but at the same time, not sacrifice the experience because it's just a different experience, but still unique. What we did was we just put a nice tablecloth because there's no reservation system on this street. So we will have people, a few of my staff go in advance, like book the place. We have a reserving culture called chop. So in the lunchtime, you will see all the workers from the office go to one of these coffee shops. They will put like a packet of tissue on the table and then they will go buy their food because there's always a queue. So when they put the tissue packet on the table, it means it's theirs. So other people will try to find a table and see a packet of tissue. We know that it's someone else's seat. So that's also something we can incorporate into our program to enhance the authenticity of the food culture. Okay, so that is why Singapore. So yeah, we can play with different themes for the program. These are the 4 things that I think would be interesting. Like I mentioned, diversity of cultures. We had the Indian settlers, and you know, these 3 different areas are all like 5 minutes bus or maximum 10 minutes. So you could do all in a half-day program. So Little India, you could visit this is called chapati, this bread, and then you eat it with different curry and spices. This is the last stall in Singapore that exists that specialize in this chapati. So you can put in culinary into it and also cultural if you want. We can do flower garland making as like a quick experience. Could be just 15 minutes, doesn't have to be super long. Henna making if you'd like. And then we've got the Arab street where the Arab settlers came back then. And we have like a vintage sidecar that is available to go through this little street, and it has been gentrified into like super local brands that are very, I wouldn't say, like, you know, a bit cool. So it's really nice to see. And at night, bars. It's actually a great nightlife, and there's graffiti everywhere. So this is also a cool area. Chinatown, it's actually near the financial business district, so you could actually do a walking tour. This temple, Tian Hock Keng, is built without any nails because they believe in the feng shui. You don't want to have metal in wood, especially when it's a place of worship. Then we will go through the temple for a quick 15 minutes to explain all the really interesting details of the temple. There's also so many food experiences just on one street. There's mooncake, there's durian, which is the king of fruits. It's very smelly, but it's like an experience. There's Chinese traditional medicine that we can go to, calligraphy, shopping, obviously. You can buy clothes like this there, you can buy like fans. So yeah, it's very interactive. Then Civic District is where the colonial buildings are, like the important buildings. National Gallery, the Supreme Court. So basically these are like 4 different types of programs that we could put together in half a day. To be honest, we can, or full day, if you want to chill and relax vibe. So have anyone heard of Singapore Sling? That's our iconic Singapore cocktail, which originate in the Raffles Hotel. Let's just say after we do all this, we can actually go to Raffles Hotel. One of the experience that I personally feel is nice is the fact that I can eat the nuts and throw it on the floor without getting fined. So it's quite a nice experience. But other than that, you could do like a cocktail making session with the group before dinner. So this is, and we will go through the history of Raffles Hotel as well. It's a beautiful, nostalgic hotel. Okay. Urban farming. So we have a lot of, we turn urban spaces to thriving farms because we do not have a lot of land. In Singapore, everything is vertical. We could do, learn how food is grown sustainability and responsibility in Singapore, in a country like Singapore without any land. You can do a workshop hands-on how to grow garden in your home or in the community. Gardens by the Bay guided tour. It's not just walking around, it's also, it is the world's largest climate control greenhouse. So it's not just beautiful, they actually work. So the 18 super trees, which you see here, like avatar style, they're actually vertical garden that generate solar power, collect rainwater, regulate temperature for the conservatory, because they're fitted in with photovoltaic cells to power lighting sustainably. So I think it's a really cool angle for this landmark. We also have the flower dome here. It's the world's largest columnless greenhouse. It uses cooling system 30% more efficient than conventional method. So you kind of understand like all the energy efficiency, the smart tech that we can put together into this guided tour, which I think can be very interesting for your clients. And it's a city in the garden. We use tech, we use nature. It is an experience by itself. And obviously you have the light show at night. It's a really beautiful light show. And there are a few venues inside that we can fully book for a gala dinner, which is very memorable for the attendees. I'm going to go quickly because I'm mindful of the time. I want to leave more time for the question and answers. As you know, Singapore also have an F1 racetrack. We do have the building, so it could actually serve as a unique venue for your events. We also have supercar rentals and experience. I don't recommend for a group that is more than 15. I recommend like for 8 to 10. Then it's easy to manage and safer to manage. We also have a new Hyundai Discovery Tour, 90 minutes, which encompass of 3 different activities, which is the Smart Farm. I think I spoke too much about Smart Farm. The VR tour. So these are an insight into how Hyundai advanced mobility solutions towards the future is integrated into their manufacturing process. So it's it's cool, especially for clients in the automobile industry. And there's also a Skytrack, which is the only rooftop driving track in Singapore. These are Singapore-made EVs that allow you to experience with 1 driver and 3 other passengers. Okay, I'm done. There's so many things to do in Singapore, but I think there is a cap to how much I can show. recommendation in Singapore would be arriving. If you don't stay in the Marina Bay Sands, which is this hotel, you can actually come up for like a welcome drink, so that the delegates, after a 12 hours flight, you just want to like breathe, have a drink, stretch your legs. Can do that on the rooftop and then look at Singapore skyline and kind of orientate where you are. Oh, that's this. Before, like, I think that's a nice first thing to do when you arrive in a new country. Just right below, you can actually take a boat ride. From here, can go through a really scenic like sunset. We can also privately book with champagne if you want and brand them for sunset, and then you arrive at another port, which is down here. I'm not sure if you can see near the Fullerton Hotel, for chili crab, which is the iconic food that I mentioned to you about. And from here, from sitting down, you can actually see the Marina Bay Sands light show. So it's very easy. You eat chili crab and you see it. You don't have to enter anything. You don't have to buy tickets. So I think that's a really chill experience with a lot of things happening at the same time. Day 2, we could do cultural. You can mix all the different 4 places I mentioned about. And then we end with like fancy restaurants if you want. If not, we can do the street restaurants. And we have the UNESCO Botanic Garden. It's called National Orchid Garden, where you can do Tai Chi if you want before your flight out. I understand this is just day 3. The reason why it's 3 days is because we do have like different range of budget for hotels, but usually what we do is we offer multi-destination, and I think that's a good way to stop this presentation. Thank you so much for your time and patience on this. I guess now it's time to open up the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Atika, for this wonderful introduction to Singapore. Wow, a lot of new facts, which I did not know myself, and a lot of new things, which I think are of interest to discover. Absolutely, especially the food. We could see that there's a lot of emphasis on food. Well, has anybody got any questions which you would like to ask Atika? To Atika, sorry. Larissa, go ahead.
Yes, first of all, thank you for your time and the presentation. For the hotel, do you recommend the Marina Bay Sands as a stay, or is it more like because it's the icon, you have to do it? Because everyone, we had a group in Singapore and we had the Marina Bay Sands, and we had the other hotel, which you showed in your presentation also, with the green roofs and the green surrounding. So, and in the end, the group said, oh, well, Marina Bay Sands is cool, but the service is not very. And the other hotel was so much nicer, but everyone keeps looking at Marina Bay Sands and says, oh, why don't we go there? So would you really recommend? If yes, would you like say it should be a certain period, or is it always the same? How do you really, how do you communicate best with Marina Bay Sands? Because it is an icon, but the experience so far from our guests have been so-so.
No, I get it. I think Marina Bay Sands Hotel has like 3,000 rooms.
Yeah.
So just with that number, you can understand like how. I don't think it's a hotel lobby. Sometimes I feel like it's a bus station. So it really depends, how much your client really wants to be there, because the view is super nice. You have 2 different views. One is like, in this photo, you look into the Marina Bay and the financial district, and the other one is even a beautiful view of the gardens by the bay. So I would say it really depends on your client. Most of my clients, I just bring them up, and then they like it to be more smaller boutique. Doesn't even have to be boutique, just a smaller hotel than 3,000 rooms, because they care about the experience of checking, they care about the service. But you are right in whatever you just said. So it's more of telling the client upfront. If you order from the room service, it might come like 2 hours later. Or if you're a travel adapter, you will come like at 1 a.m. knocking the door. Yeah, that was not nice. But yeah, the clients that came was like booked this hotel was from Mexico, and different type have like they are okay to go through all this service type of level of service as long as they get to take photos, be there, feel like royalty. So it really depends. As long as we are very upfront and honest about, like you mentioned, the check-in experience, the level of service.
Yeah, thank you very much, Atika. I think, as you already said, you need to manage the client's expectation and probably as well inform him beforehand, but you can still have the experience by having a visit, an organized visit up to the. How would you do that, Atika? Do you then go for a drink, or do you just go up there, have a day pass or half day pass for the pool? How would that be?
The pool is only for in-house guests.
Okay.
For a group, there is actually four different restaurants at the rooftop. One is on the one end, the other is on the other end. So you can just go up the lift and just go straight to the restaurant. There's no need for a day pass. As long as you have a reservation, private booking, you still can enjoy the same view.
Okay.
Is there a minimum spend for the restaurant as well?
Yes, there is. Yeah.
But I think the building is stunning to watch the building, and you just rightly said that you can sit somewhere opposite in a nice restaurant and watch this beautiful building. And you mentioned that there is a light show. Is that every day?
Yes, every night. I think 2 different slots. I think 7:15 and 8:15.
Super.
Just it's like yeah, it's nice to see at night.
I have a question actually with regards to the transport, because you said there are not many cars, so obviously they will not encourage buses either. So when you have a group, how do you transport them from A to B? Do you take the subway, or how do you do that? If you have now an incentive group, how would that look like? I mean, transport-wise.
We usually get coach, like a 42-seater coach or 23-seater coach, depending. Because that's most likely what we will offer. Like I mentioned, there's not much traffic on the street, so even for a big bus, we don't get stuck in traffic. There's no delay in the program. And it's always nice because then you have only one tour guide in the bus with 42 people, and there's only one tour guide instead of 16-seater and then one tour guide per 16-seater. So
okay, super. But if a client would alternatively not want to use the bus for sustainable reasons, he can take the subway, metro within Singapore if the group is not that big as an alternative. It's feasible.
It's very feasible.
Okay.
You can actually use like your, like cashless payment to enter the subway. So you don't have to buy a separate ticket. Yeah. Even buses. Okay. So sometimes buses are the best way as well, like the public buses. Because you can see the daily life of people in Singapore through public transportation.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else has a question? And I have one last one because I don't want to take too long. Atika, you said you can combine Singapore. I know that a very popular combination could be as well Singapore with Bali, but I believe there is a very close by beach, because obviously being in a city which is beautiful, it's nice to complement it with a beach stay. So what would you recommend then? What is the closest?
We did one. There is 2 islands that is by ferry 30 to 45 minutes. And you're already in this island, which is already in Indonesia territory. So it's called Batam and Bintan. These islands are made for golf, for like you have a club mat there, so you can understand the vibe of the island if you want to do a short getaway for meetings, because maybe Singapore is expensive to organize a meeting. So it gives like this island vibe, exciting vibe. And you can always come back to Singapore 45 minutes instead of, going to Bali, which is a 2.5-hour flight. And Bali is, it's a different landscape. So many things to do. So if you want to do a compact one, you want things to be efficient, then this combination is good. Another popular one is to combine it with an island in Malaysia by flight, 1 hour. It's called Penang. So it's very cultural. Everything is colonial style on the beach. The prices of the 5-star hotels there is like, nothing compared to Singapore. So you can actually balance and you still keep the luxury element with this multi-destination. Because if you're coming all the way from Europe for like 12-14 hours, you don't want to stay just 2 nights in Singapore. You want to do a bit more. So we offer this multi-destination.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's what I wanted to know. But we have a question. I think, Swana, you have a question. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Just one more question regarding Malaysia. As you just said, so you would recommend Malaysia only with the island, or if you have like 2 nights in Singapore and then maybe 2 nights Malaysia, or which would be the best way?
I would say start with Malaysia, because what we did was we did with a group, Kuala Lumpur, which is the capital of Malaysia. So the flights from Europe coming into Singapore and then Kuala Lumpur is just 1 hour later. And then you do Penang. After Penang, there's a direct flight to Singapore. Because how we storytell the program, how we sell is Singapore used to be part of Malaysia. And when you go there, Malaysia first, you see, the capital of Malaysia. It's like the New York City of Malaysia. And then they will realize Singapore is like the Washington of Malaysia. And then we tell that story along the way in every destination. We continue, and then we arrive in Singapore, and then like, boom, wow, it's such a progressive city. I can't believe it's only been 60 years of independence. So in terms of the storytelling, I would, suggest that itinerary.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome. Oh, Carol, we still have the video actually.
Yeah, sorry. Well, we are fine on time.
Yeah.
We have 5 more minutes to go, and then we are done. So, but if anybody has any more questions, maybe after. But otherwise, we would show a nice video to showcase a bit of Singapore. So, you want to go ahead, Atika? Because I think it's only 1 minute, but we lost it now. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So this is a video of Singapore to give you guys a visualization.
Welcome to Singapore, where things are made a little unexpected.
What you waiting for now? What you waiting for? Dive in, it's extraordinary. What you waiting for now?